Hi everyone, welcome to my video. I'm Nancy from StampinShout.com. I'm a Stampin' Up! Creative coach, and I make lots of cards and paper crafts, and I use Stampin' Up! Products, and then I share them with you. I share them on my YouTube video as I'm doing right now, and also on my Facebook page and on Pinterest. So there's a lot of inspiration out there. Also my blog, www.stampinshout.com. So the other day I posted what I called my Friday Fast card. And I'm going to continue to do that every Friday. I'm going to show you a really quick and easy card to make. And then I stepped it up a little bit. So that's what I want to show you tonight. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll talk about it and then we will make it. So this was the card that I showed you guys the other day. And it was my Friday Fast card, and it's pretty and it's easy, and I really love it, but I'm going to step it up a little bit. So inside on this one I stamped Happy Birthday. So here is my stepped up, my fancy card, and I did a little bit more fussing with it, and it's still easy, it's so much fun, and that's the card we're going to make tonight. So I'm using the Posted For You stamp set, and that coordinates with a punch, and it's called the Rectangle Postage Stamp Punch. So I like this because it coordinates with the stamp set, but I also like it because you can use it on all your other stamps and sentiments. So you get a lot of use out of this punch, and as I said before, punches are great because it really makes your card making fast and easy. So let's bring in our supplies. I'm using Rococo Rose as my card base, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. And then I have some basic white pieces. I have 2 pieces that are cut to 5 1/4 by 4. Those are going to be my matte pieces, one for the front and one for the inside. And then I have 2 pieces of basic white that are cut to 5 inches by 3 3/4. So one's for the inside and this one's for the front. I already ran this through the subtle embossing folder. And then I have a piece of, this is the Oso Ombre Designer Series paper. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And I have a piece of the foil. This is the Rococo Rose foil that I already punched out with the rectangle punch, and then I ran it through an embossing folder. The embossing folder I used here is called Wrapped in Texture, and unfortunately that's been discontinued. Hopefully they'll bring it back, but I'm not sure about that. So I am going to put in my description below 4 alternative embossing folders that you might want to check out and use for this little piece here. So let's see here, let me put that off to the side. I also have a strip of 1/2 inch basic white that I'm going to stamp my sentiment on, and it's longer than I need, so we're going to cut that down. And then I also cut a strip, a 1/4 inch strip of this, and I'm going to put that on the inside of our card. So this Designer Series paper is called Oso Ombre, and I had the whole paper stack here a second ago, but here it is. So this is in the Celebration catalog, so that means it's a free item that you can choose in the Celebration catalog whenever you make a purchase of $50 or more. Celebration's going on through January and February, and you get to pick something. So this is one of the items that I got. It's 6 by 6 paper, and it's in 4 different colors and 2 different designs, and I've been using it like crazy. I just love it. So let's get started with our stamping. I'm going to bring in the sentiment, and we're going to stamp in Versamark. Everything is going to be stamped in Versamark, and then we're going to use gold embossing powder. So let's see, I guess I'll start with my sentiment since that's right there. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp everything right now, and then I'm going to emboss it all at one time for you. So I just want to bring this up a little bit closer to me so I make sure I get it lined up okay. I think I got that a little bit too low. I'm going to turn that over and do it again. That's why you get 2 sides, right? That's better. And then I'm going to bring in my inside stamping piece, and that one I'm going to stamp Congratulations. I decided to make this into a like a wedding card. My first one was a birthday card, and this one I thought was so pretty. I thought it would make a nice wedding card. So I stamped congratulations. And just so you know, that is from Happy Thoughts. So this is a new stamp set that I just got. It's in the new mini catalog, and it's called Happy Thoughts. So I'm going to have all this stuff posted. You guys don't have to worry about it. I'm going to put some in the description below, and then you can also visit my blog, and I'll have all that information there. So don't worry too much about that, because I know I start talking really fast sometimes. So now I'm going to stamp up in the Versamark the flower stamp. And the love stamp. So again, ink that up in the Versamark. And what else? Oh, I'm going to bring in a scrap of Whisper White, and I'm going to ink up with the Versamark. It's a special delivery little circle stamp. Let's see if I got it all. Yep, that's everything. So now I'm going to put some gold embossing powder on this. So I'm going to bring in a scrap, put all my stuff on here. I don't know if I'll get it all done at once, but hang on a second, I'll bring it back in the camera. I think I got a little bit too much to do all at once, but we'll put this off to the side for a second. There we go. I'm just going to sprinkle this gold embossing powder on here. I'll do that other one in a second. And shake this a little bit, make sure everything is coated. Get all that extra powder off. Whoops. Looks good. Just want to make sure I have a good coating of that gold powder on there. And then our congratulations. Just flick it and that extra stuff will come off. I just want to make sure I have it coated. I can see that some of it needs a little bit more. And then last is that little circle. Okay, so everything is stamped and coated with that powder. I'm going to throw this back in my little jar. Then I'm going to bring out my heat gun. I'm going to turn my heat gun on first to get it hot, and then I'm going to point it down. And the reason I do that is I don't want it to blow away the powder before it starts heating it up. So I'm going to turn it on, it's going to get loud, and I'm going to heat all these up really quick for you. Okay, so we're all heat embossed. Everything's heated up and turned to gold. It's really, really pretty. And if you noticed when I was using my heat gun, I did not do this motion. I just slowly let it get hot, and as it changed, then I moved my hand and just let it gradually work its magic. So now we're going to put this card together. So I'm going to take these that we just heat embossed, and I'm going to bring in my punch and center it and punch each one of these out. And let's put this card together. So this piece here, I'm going to fussy cut. I'm not cutting right on that gold line, I'm cutting just on the outside of it. Okay, so let's bring in our card base and start putting this together. I have some coloring to do also, but I'm going to do that in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and take my matte piece and my subtle embossed piece, and I'm going to glue those two together. And somebody recently commented and asked why I put a white matte piece on instead of just putting that on the card. And it's just a personal preference. You could definitely just go ahead and put that on there, but I like that little tiny matte piece. Also, if you're putting a bow on it and you're wrapping it around, it kind of gives it a little bit more substance, so you're not squishing up your stamping piece or your one piece of paper. Gives it a little bit more weight. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this embossed piece onto my matte piece. Okay, then I'm going to bring in these pieces, my little foil piece, and then this piece. When I punch this out, I have a little bit of extra foil, and just for the fun of it, I am going to add that to my sentiment. I'll show you what I mean. So I have this little piece here, and I'm going to add it to each end of my sentiment. This is just a little bit more fussing, but I like it. I really like the way it looks. So I just put a little bit of glue on here, and I put it right at the end of my sentiment. And I'm going to trim it. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. So put a little bit of glue on here. Put it on the end of my sentiment. And I'm going to trim it on the back. Okay, we're going to play with that a little bit more in a minute. So these two pieces, you could lay it down without coloring it in. It's very, very pretty that way. But I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Stampin Blends and color this in. So hopefully you can see that I'm coloring the flower in the Rococo Rose. And I'm using Old Olive for the leaves. I'm going to use my skinny tip. And also the love has a little bit of an area that you can color in. Let me color this flower in. So again, I will have this information on my blog. I'll have some of the details in the description below. But if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and type them in. Share my video too. I love when you guys share my video. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click subscribe, and there's a little bell there for notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I do a video. So this again is the light old olive. And since this is embossed, it's really, really easy to color because those lines are very prominent. That it's like you're coloring inside the lines. I'll hold this up in a second and show you. Oops, I went outside the line there. So this is that, like I said, the Oso Ombre paper. If you wanted, you could use the lighter color because it is graduated. You know, the color it gets. Let me show you. So you could punch out I punched out a darker piece, but you definitely could punch out a lighter piece if you didn't want it that dark. But so those are colored in, and I'm going to go ahead and put this together. And I'm going to bring in my dimensionals because I popped this stuff up. So I'm going to go ahead and do the love. And also this one, I popped this up, so I'm going to put one on there. Put this in the upper right hand corner. Like that. And then this one, just going to kind of slide underneath a little bit. Okay, so this one I glued down, this one I popped up, but first I have to bring in my ribbon. And I colored this ribbon. I actually colored this ribbon when it was on my, already on my card, already tied. So let me show you what I did. And I just tied a square knot. So the way you do that is, so that piece is, straighten all this out. And this piece that's under is going to make my tie. I'm going to tie that together, make my knot. I know it's hard for you to see. It's hard for me to keep showing you, but just tie in a knot. Okay, but I'm pulling this other piece. So this piece here tied my knot. This piece I'm going to pull, and that's going to make me have a pretty knot like that. And I'm going to bring in my ribbon scissors and cut that. So I could have colored this before, but since I didn't know how much ribbon I was going to use, I was kind of scrimping here. So I'm going to bring in a scrap, and I actually colored this right on my card. So I'm going to bring in my Rococo Rose again, and I'm just going to color this ribbon in like this. But I have a scrap underneath here, so it's not going to hit my card. Color that knot. Just moving this out of the way so I can color the bottom of that ribbon. And I just colored that in just like that. So that way I didn't have to color more ribbon than I was going to use. And let's put it together. I think I'm going to put a glue dot underneath this to hold it in place. Now I actually probably would color this ribbon in when it's not on the card, but okay. So now I'm going to take and glue this piece down, pop this one up, and then put my sentiment down. So put some dimensionals on the back of this one. My dimensionals are getting stuck here. Okay, now this is going to go down here, and I'm just going to trim it like that and like that. So I just have a little bit of that gold showing, or that Rococo Rose foil showing. And I'm going to pop this up. Whoops. I need a smaller dimensional, so I'm going to use these end pieces here. I'm going to use 3 so it makes sure it gets popped up all the way across. Okay, now I'm just going to put that on the front of my card. So the only thing I would do different is I would color some of that ribbon ahead of time, just so you don't mess up your card. Pretty, 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 pretty. Okay, so then the inside, I'm going to bring in this piece that we stamped congratulations and attach that to my matte piece. So I will have the products that I used down in the description, and then I'll have more detail on my blog. So you can go over and look at that probably tomorrow. It'll be all ready. Also, when you're on my blog, if you'll notice on to the right, there's a sign up for my weekly newsletter. Every Thursday I put out a newsletter, and I include a free PDF for a card. So if you want to join that, go ahead. So there you go. There are the two cards. Pretty, pretty. Let's bring in the first one. So that was the very first one. And then here we did a little bit of fussing. We got the gold embossing on the Oso Ombre and colored it in. And a little bit of foil and the ribbon, the colored ribbon. So there you go. So I hope you enjoyed my little video tonight. I have a few more that I will post using the Posted For You stamp set, so you can get some more ideas. And don't be shy, stamp and shout.